Hi, my name is Sumaya Mituna Zamri. My matrix number is 06DAT23F1026. So for this case focuses on a workplace situation involving a junior staff member who has recently returned to full-time work after taking leave to care for her elderly mother. The scenario highlights the challenges of balancing work responsibilities with personal caregiving duties, as well as the impact of workplace behavior and culture on employee well-being and team performance. A junior employee recently back from special leave to care for her mother is struggling to manage her mother's home care schedule. As a result, she frequently misses morning team meetings and occasionally leaves work early. While she is skilled and capable, her absence are creating pressure on her and her colleagues. The situation is further complicated by a male colleague who has been making sexist and inappropriate remarks, such as suggesting that a woman's place is in the home. His behavior is undermining the employee's confidence and contributing to a hostile work environment. As her manager, I'm aware that the team's workload is being affected and that workplace tensions are rising. The case raises key issues about employee support, discrimination, work-life balance, and managerial responsibility in maintaining a fair and respectful workplace. So for the next slide, I will describe the ethical problem. This case presents a complex ethical challenge involving the need to balance fairness, professionalism, and compassion in managing the situation of a junior staff member. The junior staff member has an enormous amount of personal distress due to caring for her elderly mother, which has understandably limited her capacity to fully meet her work obligations, and although she has a good reason for needing flexibility, her repeated absence and early departures have placed extra burdens on her colleagues and affected the team workflow. Furthermore, a male colleague has made inappropriate comments, such as a woman's place is in the home, which are not only unprofessional and damaging to the junior staff member, but simply contribute to a hostile and discriminatory workplace environment, raising ethical issues related to respect, equality, and a workplace free from harassment and bias. As her manager, the ethical dilemma is to find a way to support the staff member with empathy and understanding, recognizing her personal situation while at the same time ensuring fairness to the rest of the team and upholding professional standards. The manager must carefully navigate these competing demands to foster a respectful, equitable, and productive workplace. In this situation, there are several important stakeholders, each affected differently and playing a distinct role. First, the junior staff member. She is at the center of the case, being directly impacted by the stress associated with working and caregiving responsibilities, and she is also experiencing harassment from a male colleague. This harassment exacerbates her stress level and is affecting her ability to perform her job satisfactorily. Next is the male colleague. Clearly, his behavior by making inappropriate comments as well as discriminatory comments is unacceptable behavior and must be managed by implementing a disciplinary action for his behaviors. This is imperative in maintaining respect and equality in the workplace. Then, the other team members, they are indirectly affected because her absenteeism creates an unfair workload on their part. This will create undue pressure on team and eventually affect morale and productivity, which will lead to tension within the team. As the manager, I'm responsible for integrating these competing needs of keeping my ethical obligations, support our junior employee compassionately, and keep a functional flow for everyone on the team. And finally, the firm. How the company approach these matters has a sizable impact on its reputation and productivity. The company is ultimately obliged to comply with professional ethical codes such as the Malaysian Institute of Accountants to maintain a respectful and ethical workplace. To evaluate each solution, one possible approach may be to offer the junior member an option of a flexible work arrangement in the form of altered working hours or the opportunity to work from home if she chooses. Providing this option will lessen her anxiety and allow her to continue to contribute effectively to the team while caring for her family. In an ethical context, this may coincide with the MIA fundamental principles of integrity, professional behavior, objectivity, and fairness. Offering this option wouldn't compromise any of these principles, nor would it give the junior member an unfair advantage over team members. The main concern is that the other members of the team may have to tolerate some increased workload, which means being transparent and monitoring the workload closely to ensure fairness. In general, providing this arrangement demonstrates compassion while remaining professional and ethical. It is also important to respond the same male colleague discriminatory behavior through whatever methods are deemed appropriate, which could include action taken through the company's formal disciplinary process. This is an important step in discouraging harassment and fostering a respectful, inclusive, and ethical work environment. Ethically, to act is consistent with the MIA fundamental principle of professional behavior, integrity, and objectivity, which states that all employees are entitled to fair and equitable treatment without bias. The benefits of acting, in addition to promoting a safe and professional work environment, include sending an unmistakable message that discriminatory behavior has no place at this workplace. While a formal disciplinary process may create some initial tension among the team, failure to address the behavior would violate the MIA's ethical standards. Therefore, the action is appropriate and ethically required in the view of the MIA. A third solution is to redistribute the team's workload to maintain productivity and ensure fairness among all members. This approach aligns with the MIA fundamental principles of professional competence and due care, as well as fairness, by ensuring that work quality and efficiency are maintained while protecting the interests of other team members. The main advantage of this solution is that it helps sustain workflow and team morale, reducing potential resentment among colleagues who may otherwise feel overburdened. However, it may require temporary adjustment or additional effort from other staff members. To remain ethical, the redistribution should be communicated clearly and applied only as a short-term measure, with a plan to restore normal workload balance once the junior staff members' flexible arrangements stabilize. The final solution is to give counseling or support programs to the junior employee in order to help her to cope with stress and to keep her performance. This way of dealing with the situation indicates the MIA fundamental principles of professional behavior, integrity, and objectivity. The first one is empathy and the second one is care. By permitting counseling or employee assistance programs access to the personnel, the organization not only helps the staff but also makes them feel good about their mental state and strong enough to face challenge. But at the same time, it prevents them from burning out or making mistakes at work due to lack of time. Even though this move might take more resources and time, it is a clear sign of the firm's dedication to ethical and responsible management. In the end, this option is totally in line with professional ethical standards, since it offers a supportive and healthy work environment without lowering the performance standards. Next slide. Creating an alternate working arrangement for the junior team member is the best option because it will enable her to take care of her responsibilities as a caregiver, and at the same time, she will be able to work professionally. On the one hand, distribution of the workload among all team members should be such that there is equal sharing of work and cooperation among the members. With immediate effect, the male college prejudice must be rooted out through formal counseling or suitable HR interventions so that the workplace is kept professional and harassment-free. To promote a culture of honesty, respect, and inclusivity, it would also be helpful to have open communication with the team about expectations and equality, although not in the way that confidentiality is broken, thereby creating a conducive environment for openness and trust.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Izariana binti Amran and my matrix number is 1608223F1078, and I will present about case number 2, which is I will summarize the case. A firm of accountants was appointed as external accountants for a fast-growing startup company. Over 5 years, the company expanded to 200 employees, but was still not large enough to require a statutory audit. Due to close relationships with the company's director and staff, one of the partners discovered that employees were buying the company's product through unofficial sales. These sales were processed outside the accounting system, and the money collected was used to fund the company's Christmas party. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Izariana binti Amran and my matrix number is 1608223F1078, and I will present about case number 2, which is I will summarize the case. A firm of accountants was appointed as external accountants for a fast-growing startup company. Over 5 years, the company expanded to 200 employees, but was still not large enough to require a statutory audit. Due to close relationships with the company's director and staff, one of the partners discovered that employees were buying the company's product through unofficial sales. These sales were processed outside the accounting system, and the money collected was used to fund the company's Christmas party. So first, I'll be sharing about the ethical problems in this case based on MIA bylaws. The first one is integrity. As an accountant, we must always be honest and straightforward in all professional and businesses relationships. In these situations, we found that some sales were processed outside the accounting system. This might be done intentionally to hide income, which could lead to tax evasion. If our firms ignore this issue, it means we are supporting unethical behaviors, and that goes against the principle of integrity. So, the firm should act truthfully by reporting or discussing this matter with management. The second one is objectivity. Objectivity means we have to avoid bias, conflict of interest, or any undue influence. Because we have a close relationship with the directors and staff, it might affect our judgment. We could feel reluctant to confront management about the issue. To stay objective, we need to make decisions independently based on facts, not personal relationships. That's all from me. Next, I will explain about the affected parties in this case. The first one is the accounting firm and its partners. Their professional reputation and credibility are at risk if they ignore or get involved in the unrecorded sales. They could also face disciplinary from MIA for breaching professional ethics, and even lost clients' trust or face legal consequences. The second one is the client company, which is the startup. The company faces legal and financial risk because the unrecorded sales mean incomplete financial statements and possible tax evasion. If recovered by the authorities like LHDN, could face fines or penalties, and their business reputation would also be damaged. Lastly, the company directors and management. Since they are responsible for the company's finances, they could be held personally liable for allowing or ignoring the issue. Their professional and personal reputation might also be affected, and they could lose the trust of investors and employees. That's all for the affected party. Now, I'll be evaluating each possible solution for this case. Solution number 1 is to talk to the company's management. We can explain the issue and advise them to record all staff sales properly in the accounting system. The advantage is that this helps the company correct their mistakes and comply with the law. However, the disadvantage is that management might ignore the advice or become defensive. So the second solution is to discuss the matter with other partners in the firm. By recording what happened and getting their opinions, we can make a proper decision together. The advantage is that this protects the firm's reputation and ensures that the issue is handled correctly. But the disadvantage is that it may take time and could lead to disagreements among partners. And the last solution, which is the solution 3, is to withdraw from the engagement. If the company refuses to fix the problem, the firm should stop acting as their accountant. The advantage is that it shows integrity and avoids being involved in unethical behavior. The disadvantage is that the firm may lose client and some income. That's all for the evaluating each solution. The solution, the firm should first discuss the issue with the company's management and advise them to record all of staff sales properly in the accounting system. However, if management refuses to take action, then the firm should withdraw from the engagement and seek advice from MIA or legal advisor. This solution follows the MIA bylaws and upholds all 5 fundamental ethical principles: integrity, objectivity, professional competence, and due care, the confidentiality, and professional behavior. By taking to the management first, we give the company a fair chance to correct their mistake and act ethically. But if they still refuse Withdrawing from the engagement shows that we do not support any dishonest or illegal actions. This helps protect the firm's professional reputation. Also, seeking advice from MIA ensures that our actions are legally and ethically correct, especially if the matters need to be reported to the authorities. In summary, this is the best solution because it promotes honesty, transparency, and professional conduct while protecting both the accounting firm and the public's trust in the profession. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Ain Shakira binti Muhammad Asmadi. My metric number is 06-80-23-11-49. I want to present about case number 3. I summarize this case. This is about company A is a big client of your audit firm. They pay 50,000 ringgit every year, but now they have cash flow problems because one of their big customers went bankrupt. So company A cannot pay your audit fees fully and still owes 25,000. You agree to let them pay slowly over. The bank needs company A's audited financial statements quickly so they can increase their overdraft. The audit is almost finished, but you were very busy and did not review the audit plan yearly. Now you find out the company's cash flow problem and unpaid fees make the going concern risk very serious. Next, I want to discuss about this case. Now, I want to describe the ethical problem. The first one is conflict of interest. The audit firm has a big financial interest in company A 50,000 fees per year, and this client is one of the firm's main clients. The firm also allowed the audit payment to be delayed for 10 months, and company A still owes 25,000. Why is this problem? The first might be afraid of losing this client because the fees are high and they have a long relationship. Second, the unpaid audit fees means the first has a financial interest in the company's future. And then this can make the auditor biased and not fully objective when making audit decisions. Second, we have ethical dilemmas. The auditor is stuck in a difficult situation, choosing between following professional standards and keeping audit integrity or helping the client because of the long relationship and the firm's financial interests. Why is this a problem? The auditor must protect integrity, objectivity, and professional competence, but also does not want to damage the relationship with the client. And then pressure to finish the audit quickly may cause the audit work to be rushed and not done properly. The auditor must choose whether to report the going concern honestly or protect the client to avoid negative impact on their business and future fees. Now we need to identify the affected parties. The first one is audit partner, the person who make audit decision and manage the client relationship. And your professional reputation, objectivity, and ethical compliance may be affected. Second, we have audit firm. The firm depends on 50,000 yearly fees from this client. There is a risk of losing the clients, damaging the firm's reputation, and facing disciplinary action if audit standards are not allowed. Third, we have audit term. They perform the audit and are responsible for assessing risks, including going concern. And then they may face audit mistakes or disciplinary action if there is a material misstatement. And last one, we have a company A is a client. They need the audit report to submit to the bank for an overdraft facility. Their business perform and survival depends on the audit outcome. So I want evaluate each solution. The first solution is continue the audit and help client get the bank loan. If the auditor chooses to complete the audit quickly to help the client get a bank loan, it may help maintain a good relationship and avoid using a big audit fee. However, rushing the audit can cause the work to be less thorough and ignore the going concern issue. This can affect objectivity, break professional standards, and create reputation and disciplinary risk if the report is wrong. Second, perform full proper audit procedure and delay reporting if needed. If the auditor continue the audit properly and follow all required procedure, even though it take more time, the result will be accurate and follow professional standard. The client may be unhappy and the firm may risk losing fees, but the auditor protect integrity, objectivity, and professional reputation. Solution 3. Disclose a going concern issue honestly and discuss with the client. This option allows the auditor to continue work professionally while honestly informing the client about the going concern risk. If necessary, the auditor can issue a modified opinion. The client may not be happy, but the bank and financial statement users receive true information. This protects integrity and transparency without fully harming the client. And last solution is resign or withdraw from the audit. If the client pressures the auditor to approve quickly or ignore important issue, the auditor can resign to protect integrity and the firm reputation. Although the firm will lose the client and income. This option prevents involvement in unprofessional or risk actions. The best solution I choose is solution number 2. Perform full proper audit procedures and delay reporting if needed. It is because the auditor will complete all audit procedure carefully and follow professional standards. This keeps the auditor integrity and objectivity. It also protects the interests of the bank, shareholder, and other users of the financial statement, even though there is a risk of losing the client and audit fees. The auditor's duty is to produce a true and fair financial report. This is the most ethical and professional solution and it supports the public interest. That's all from me.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Noaini binti Muhammad Zalani. My matrix number is 06DAT23F1002. I will be presenting case 4, which is about an ethical issue faced by auditor in a subsidiary company. In this case, the auditor discovers several serious problems, including false payments, fake purchase order, and violence of environment law. We will discuss the case based on Chapter 4 and Chapter 5, which cover ethical conflict, dilemma, and ethical decision making. Now, let's begin the first part. Describe the ethical problem. For this case, there are three main ethical problems faced by the auditor. The first one is a conflict of interest. The finance director used his authority to make false payment and purchase order. This creates a conflict between his personal interest and the company interest. It also put pressure on the auditor not to disclose the issue, which affect their objectivity. The second problem is a whistleblower conflict. The auditor knows there is a corruption and a violation of the law. They face a dilemma on whether to report this to the authorities or stay silent. However, ethically, they have a responsibility to report in the public interest. The third problem is an ethical dilemma. the auditor are caught between following instruction from the finance director or reporting the misconduct. Both of choose carry risk losing the client or violating professional ethics. Therefore, they must make their decision based on integrity and the law. Next, we will identify the parties affected in this case. First, the auditor and the audit firm. Their professional reputation and integrity are at risk if they fail to act ethical discipline action may be taken against them. Second, the finance director and management. They are directly involved in financial misconduct and violation of the law. As a result, they may face legal action for their unethical behavior. Third, the government and regulators. They are involved because of the corruption issue within the company. These authorities need to take appropriate action against the violent commit. Lastly, the public and the environment. The public is affected due to pollution and the loss of trust in the company and the interest as well. Now let's move on the evaluation of each solution to the ethical problem. Option 1 is to report the issue to the auditor committee. The advantages is that this action is firm and follow professional ethics. However, the disadvantage is that the firm may lose client and face conflict with management. Option 2 is to refuse to sign the auditor report if the issue is not correct. The benefit is that the auditor protect their integrity and avoids producing a false report. But the disadvantages is that there is a risk of losing the audit contract and facing pressure from the client. Option 3 is to report the case to the authorities. The advantages is that this protect the public interest and follow the principle of integrity. But the firm may face pressure and its reputation could be affected. Lastly, option 4 is to suggest corrective action to the company. This can help improve to company, government and internal control system. However, the disadvantages it may not be effective if the management refuse to make change. Last slide for my present. The best solution for this case is to report the issue to the audit committee. This solution shows that the auditor is a person with strong integrity and objectivity. It also helps protect the public interest and maintain the reputation of the audit firm. By reporting the issue, the auditor demonstrates professional responsibility as required in the MIA bylaw, which guide all professional accountants in Malaysia. Most important, this action ensures that the auditor avoid being involved in any fraud or violation of the law. Therefore, this is the most ethical and responsible solution in this solution. Thank you.
Good afternoon, madam. My name is Durga Ramesh and my matrix number is 06D8023F1029. I'll be presenting case 5, which is Project A Ethical Dilemma. As an accountant leading consulting team, Project A faced major design and manufacturing issues, causing delay and extra costs about 7 to 10 million. The regional director has already informed to the finance director for the possible losses. The finance director urgently requests his report before it's complete for a board meeting. First question will be describe the ethical problem. So in case 5, if I am an qualified accountant leading the consulting team, I face pressures from the finance director to provide incomplete information about project A before my report is finalized. Sharing unverified data could mislead the board and breach ethics like integrity, objectivity, and due care. However, delaying too long may affect the company's decision making. This situation also challenges my professional skepticism, as the regional director earlier estimates are lower than my team's finding. The second question will be identify the affected parties. So basically there are 6 affected parties. The first one will be me as a professional accountant. My responsible is to maintain professional ethics, accuracy, objectivity. The second thing will be regional director. Regional director responsible for the project and to reduce blame. The third one is finance director. Finance director need to correct information to make decision. Shareholder and investor. Shareholder and investor are concerned with their profit and reputation. The fifth one will be employee and supplier. Employee and supplier could be impacted by financial instability due to project costs. The last one will be public and regulatory bodies. Public and regulatory bodies are aspect transparency and ethical conduct listed by several governments. The following question will be explore optional solution. There are few ways to handle this situation. The first option is to be honest and wait until all information is ready. This shows that you are responsible and doing your job properly. The second option is to give short update but not the final report. This keeps the update but still protects your honesty. The third option is to ask help or advice from your senior management if you feel pressured by the director. This way you are not handling the problem alone and you are still doing things in the right way. So there are 3 options, which is the first one will be give the finance director the early estimates now. The advantage will be help the board director to act quickly, and there is disadvantage too, which is maybe wrong or incomplete, not professional or not honest. The second option will be wait until the full report is complete. So the advantage will be ensure information is correct, and the disadvantage will be the board won't have time to plan earlier in action. The third option will be give a short update but clearly say it's not final. So the advantage will be honest and transparent, let the board plan early but still know it's not confirmed yet. And the disadvantage will cause worry if the number changes later. The last part will be best solution and justification. So give a short and careful update but make it clear that the result will be confirmed late in the final project. This shows that we are being honest, careful and professional. You should keep clear records of what you share and finish the report, which is full accuracy. By doing this, we can follow that ethical principle, which is integrity, objectivity, professional competency due to care and professional behavior. Integrity is being honest and truth. Objectivity is not influenced by others. Professional competency and due care will be doing properly, and professional behavior will be acting responsibility and maintaining the trust. Thank you.